So in this video, I'm going to show you guys a New York Times report that actually exposes and reveals that the real waste of American tax dollars and the real fraud that's taking place is actually from Elon Musk and DOGE itself. But before we jump into the video, if you're interested in an outsider's point of view on American politics, be sure to subscribe to the channel. But let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into this video.
Over the last few weeks, we've been reporting on errors in the so-called wall of receipts. This is a website that Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency has set up in the name of transparency to show how it saved American taxpayers money. How did Musk and his team respond after we found those errors? By making their work less transparent and making their errors harder to find. But we found them anyway. DOGE has added a new section to its website. This one deals with federal grants. They posted 3,500 new federal grants that they said they'd canceled and saved $10 billion in the process. But they only included minimal information about each one of these grants, like the agency that made the grant and the amount of money they claimed they had saved. They didn't include other details that would allow a reporter like me or anybody else to track down which grant they were talking about and to figure out if the claim DOGE was making is actually true. But they left identifying information for each one of these grants embedded in the code of DOGE's website. This long string of numbers is a unique award ID that identifies each grant within the federal government's bureaucracy. And what we discovered was basically the same kind of error they had been making before. There were 5 of those errors and just the top 20 largest savings they were claiming. Those errors started with the largest item on the list. DOGE said it had saved $1.75 billion by cutting a contract to a public health nonprofit. When we talked to that nonprofit, they said DOGE's data was wrong twice over. First, they said the contract had not been canceled. Second, they said that even if it had been canceled, all the money that the government owed them had already been paid. So the savings achieved by terminating this contract would be 0. In other cases, Musk's group seemed to have misunderstood a fundamental part of government contracting. They said they'd saved $83 million by cutting a grant from USAID to a nonprofit called Engender Health. What that group told us was that DOGE had been looking at something called a ceiling value, basically an upper limit on what the government could ever possibly spend. Instead, they'd been given a much smaller number, $1.2 million, of which they'd already received about $500,000. So the savings achieved by cutting that grant, they said, was not $83 million, but something much smaller, about $700,000. The next 3 errors all seem to involve a similar misunderstanding. A couple of days after DOGE posted those hidden clues that helped us find the reality of these grants, they removed them. A White House official told us that the identifying information was removed for security purposes. This new secrecy from DOGE appears to contradict what Elon Musk has said in interviews. He recently said that DOGE was transparent
line by line.
It's transparent line by line.
Which is quite remarkable.
We're going to continue trying to fact check those claims, but DOGE has just made our work much, much harder. Over the last few weeks, we've been...
So the question that it is, in my humble opinion, is why is it that if Elon Musk and DOGE really believe that what they're trying to do is make things as transparent as possible, why is it that once something gets brought to their attention where truth has been found out from this reporter, why is it that then DOGE only made it harder for individuals to be able to take a look into what it is that they're doing? We all know the answer as to why this is the case. The answer is plain and simply because they're not looking for waste. They're not looking for fraud. They're not looking for abuse. They're not looking for none of those things. If that's realistically what they were looking for, they would be telling Donald Trump he needs to stop taking these weekend trips that cost the American taxpayers $3 million each and every single weekend, of which I believe he's there right now, and actually took Elon Musk's child on the helicopter with him to be able to do it as well. These guys aren't looking for that. I genuinely believe what these guys are doing is they're putting themselves in a position to be able to do whatever it is that they want, however they want, with whoever they want, and not to have to answer to absolutely anyone to be able to do it. These guys aren't finding absolutely anything, and they're going to continue to do this, and they're going to continue to use the excuse, and maggots are going to eat it up because they believe absolutely everything. We already know that to be the case. And they're going to continue to abuse their position and the power that it is that they have. This is quite an interesting report, and I'm actually going to be keeping really, really close eyes on this. I really am. And I'm going to be making videos and content about it, because this is something that I believe all Americans should be angry about. Not just if you're on the left, not just if you're on the right, but even if you're an independent and you're straight and you're center. This is something that everybody should be frustrated about. Now, the reason as to why I take quite a lot of interest in this is because I've typically found that what happens is something will happen in America, and then not long after, it will make its way across the pond here to the UK. And we're already seeing certain politicians trying to cozy up to Elon Musk. If you're familiar with a party called Reform here in the UK, you would have heard of an individual called Nigel Farage. He's someone who is a Donald Trump bootlicker, always leaving his constituents here in the UK, traveling over to the US to be a part of whatever it is that Donald Trump is doing. But where it is that he represents is one of the most miserable places in the whole of the UK. Now, I believe that they're going to try to do the exact same sort of things and try and bring it here to the UK. I don't think that it will be able to work. I don't think. But at one point, I said I didn't believe that Donald Trump would be able to get elected to become the president of the United States of America. Elon Musk and DOGE are definitely dealing in corruption. This isn't making any sense. And the biggest problem for me is that when these guys actually say, we've found this, we've found that, and they get a bit of pushback, and you want actual real answers behind, okay, what's happening, what's taking place, what's the reason, they never ever have a good legit answer. They never do, ever. It's just an interesting point, really interesting. But look, let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video. This is quite an interesting video and quite an interesting bit of reporting as well. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section below this video. And while you're down there, do me a favor, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.